Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
Wizards of the Coast just lost 2 of their biggest names. Our favorite streaming service sees an outrageous price increase, and CinemaCon 2025 happened. And that's the spell we're casting tonight on Casters Guild. Thank you for tuning into Casters Guild. I'm your Guild Master Rick Perry, the first word in Wasted Potential.
And I am your Guild Master Baron Kane, and I was going to look something up, but then,
It helps to be on the same page sometimes, where I can just be there for you and give you the answers you need before you even ask for them.
That's true. That's true.
Every episode, before you even ask what our first segment's going to be.
I think I already know.
Yeah, it's going to be Miss the Mark again.
And from what I understand, there's some big misses.
Oh, yeah, it's like we've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. It's like they're feeding us content for this segment.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
We have a fan somewhere in WotC that's like, okay, how can we fuck up this week?
Hopefully it wasn't Chris Perkins.
I mean, hopefully Chris Perkins does listen, but,
Well, oh, yeah, fair, yeah.
We love you, Chris. Love you too, Jeremy.
Both big fans.
So, oh man, I don't even know where to start with this. There's so many different things we could do.
Big news last.
Okay. You know what? Let's start with the Magic the Gathering stuff then, because I feel like
thank God that's not the big news for you. I said it and I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, I have taken a geek shift in between seasons, and Magic the Gathering is kind of big in my life now.
Yep.
I've become one of those sweaty card players. Oh, man. But if you thought the pre-release of March of the Machines was bad...
I have no opinion either way on that.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, the pre-release of the March of the Machines is when a box of the incorrect cards got sent to somebody's house, and Wizards of the Coast sent the Pinkertons to go recover the cards.
Right.
This time, we've got the Final Fantasy set, and the new Tarkir Dragonstorm set was released recently, and instead of sending the Tarkir set to a ton of stores in Brazil, they accidentally set the Final Fantasy set, which isn't set to come out until later this year.
Well, okay. Do they have Pinkertons down there?
Not that I know of, but the whole thing about them not being an actual government agency, there's nothing stopping them from going international, right?
I guess so. I mean, that makes sense. Sure.
But apparently they sent a bunch of these Final Fantasy pre-release kits out, so these stores didn't get the Tarkir pre-release kits to do their actual pre-release events. Wizards then sent out a mass letter to every store in Brazil and every outlet in Brazil because they don't know which ones they sent the wrong cards to.
Oh my God.
So they've just asked all the stores and all the outlets to pretty please send back the cards, and then they'll get the right cards in return.
What would you do in that situation?
Well, I guess it depends, right? Because a lot of these stores depend on Wizards of the Coast. Like, if they're like a card store, and
fair.
If they have a bad relationship with Wizards of the Coast, that's not going to go well for them. So sending back the cards in order to get the correct cards and actually do my pre-release event so I can make some money, that might be important. But at the same time, what a lot of people in Brazil did was open these pre-release kits and just start posting the pictures of the cards online, leaking the entire set before it's actually been released, or at least what they could get out of their pre-release kits.
Wow. I love you, Brazil.
And it's been real easy for people to take those images and use Google Translate and take it from Portuguese to English. so everybody knows what's coming. So, if you were actually excited about the Final Fantasy set and you didn't want spoilers, that's going to be hard to do now if you exist on the internet at all.
Right, but too bad, I guess.
But, oh man, Wizards fucked themselves so hard with this one. Like, how do you not know who you sent the wrong stuff to? How do you just send a mass email? It's like, pretty please unfuck us?
They probably laid off the people who were in charge of that.
Oh my god, that's so true, because they've laid off like everybody. I mean, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Postcards online.
Yeah, and thank God for the Brazilians who just decided, fuck them, we're posting the cards. And I'm not sure if consequences will even be coming, because as long as the accounts that they're posting with, or however they're posting online, doesn't directly result in coming back to their store, how would they know?
True.
Who got the cards and who posted them? They have no recourse. They have no record.
I guess they could keep track of who doesn't send their cards back.
Yeah, but for all they know, the thing is, they sent a bunch of pre-release kits out, right? And they don't know who got the Tarkir ones that they were supposed to get, and they don't know who got the Final Fantasy ones. So for all they know, the stores that don't send their cards back, it's because they have the Tarkir cards, which are the ones they're supposed to have, so why would they send them back?
True.
So there's no way for them to know who didn't send back cards that they're supposed to.
That's very true.
Which is what I'm talking about when I say, like, they have severely fucked themselves, because they've got no way of knowing who was supposed to send back the cards and who didn't.
True. Yep, you're right.
Hopefully they don't just, like, recruit the Pinkertons again and just have them go kick down the door of every friendly local game store in Brazil to find out who's got the wrong cards.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but yeah, let's hope they don't.
Well, God knows Wizards would rather spend their money on that than actually paying employees and keeping them hired.
Hey, at the very least, if they do it, we have more material for this segment.
Oh my God, that would be a blessing, at least for content. Like, I don't actually want that to happen to people. Let me be clear.
Right, exactly.
But it doesn't stop there. I believe we already talked about the new Sigil platform and about how right after releasing it, as a platform to be a tool with D&D Beyond instead of its own platform, they immediately laid off 90% of the staff who was taking care of that platform.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're releasing new miniatures for it, and it's like, why are you even still trying with this thing?
Right, exactly. It's such a mess.
And now, I guess, on to the big one. So, do you want to go ahead and dive into this one?
Well, I mean, I guess we're back to D&D, and it looks like Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins are stepping away from Wizards of the Coast.
And like you kind of said in the Discord, I wish I didn't see it coming.
Right, exactly.
I honestly thank God it finally happened, because these are two guys who I have nothing bad to say about. They have been instrumental in designing the game, or parts of the game that I do love, and I feel like D&D was a ship that was getting ready to drag them down with it.
100%. Yeah, they're really the reasons, in my opinion, why D&D is as big as it is now.
Sure.
But I really doubt that they're the reasons why they are fucking up as badly as they are lately.
Yeah, absolutely. It's because they're betraying those reasons that they're fucking up so bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to... I feel bad just kind of like repeating words that like I've already heard people say, but it's kind of what we do in general. But they're trying to package and control things that can't be packaged and controlled, and that's why they're failing so hard.
True.
And so they're trying to get people more invested in the things that they can package and control, but those aren't the good parts about the game, which
Absolutely.
is kind of showing people, it's like pulling back the curtain and showing people that D&D, at least the parts that you buy, are not the parts that make it good. And it's opening people's eyes to kind of what a crap system it is kind of mechanically. And I say crap system only because like of where the bar is kind of set at this point, because there are way better mechanically written systems out there at this point, especially for the game that people want to play. Not that D&D is actually a bad game, it's just compared to the other things that are available, it just doesn't do what it advertises very well.
Absolutely, I agree. But maybe with them stepping away, maybe D&D will finish thinking. Maybe they'll go off and do their own thing, and yeah, who knows?
I keep thinking every time something else happens, I'm like, okay, that's the final nail in the coffin. Mm-hmm. Like D&D is dead, or at least like new stuff. The old D&D for the books we already have, that will never die. We can play it whenever, but like new stuff is dead. I'm like, okay, that's the final nail in the coffin. And then I hear about something else, and I'm like, do we need more nails? Like, how shut do we need this thing? But like, if Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins were to get together and create something new, or even worse, jump ship onto another platform, like another game that's already on its way out, that would be devastating.
That could definitely be, yep.
Devastating for Wizards of the Coast and for Dungeons & Dragons.
Well, considering, I don't think Wizards of the Coast will necessarily go under, but D&D may definitely be sold off.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast, I think, will always have Magic, and Magic, I don't think, is going anywhere.
No.
If you listened to the Magic community, they'll tell you that the death of Magic the Gathering is right around the corner. But they've also been saying that for, I don't know.
Year one?
Yeah, I wouldn't say year one, but definitely for a long time now. A lot of people complain about Universes Beyond and Secret Layers and about how it's betraying the original spirit of the game. But at the same time, those are the things that are bringing in new people. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, if any company could completely fuck up a sure thing, it'd be Hasbro WotC.
Yep.
And specifically Hasbro WotC. I mean, like, looking back, and as long as we're using the nail in the coffin analogy, I feel like the first nail in that coffin, like the beginning conceptions of the coffin when they first started building it, was when Hasbro got WotC.
Absolutely, yeah. That's when it started being monotonized, weirdly.
Yes. That's when they were like, this is the thing that could make us money. Now how do we make it make us more money? And they went in all the wrong directions.
Absolutely.
I've gotten a lot of the information, at least me, and I assume you as well, on Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins leaving Dungeons & Dragons from a Screen Rant article.
Yeah.
And I find it interesting that in that article, they reached out for an interview to hear more about this. And what they got was Wizards of the Coast VP of Franchise and Product, Jess Lanzillo, instead of getting either Jeremy or Chris, or both of them.
I'm not putting anything over on them anymore. Whatever interesting or weird things that they do, it's almost on brand for them anymore.
That's true. But like it's what it screams to me is that they are trying to throw water on the fire. They're like, this is the thing that's happening. How do we spin this to be as positive as possible? And I feel like almost on their way out, they had Chris and Jeremy sign like some sort of NDA that was like, hey, you can't speak poorly about the company and we'll give you this severance package.
Oh, right. Absolutely. I was having the same thought.
And Jeremy and Chris were like, well, if we can't say what we want, we might as well. The only way we're going to be able to keep this NDA is if we just don't speak to the press about it. Because I feel like they'd have a lot to say if someone gave them the platform.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that once their NDA is up, we're going to hear all about it.
Oh, yeah. I don't feel like those are two voices that would stay silenced out of politeness for a company.
I can't wait. I wonder how long it would be, though. I wonder how long they have to wait.
Who knows, man?
In this theoretical NDA, I should say.
Yeah, the thing is, anyone's guess could be correct, because part of me wants to go, oh, Wizards and Hasbro has been a giant company for long enough, and they're evil enough to know how to write their NDAs to where they can cover their own asses for long enough. But they also fuck up so frequently and so much, and so much against their own interests. I wouldn't be surprised if someone told me, well, they actually wrote in the NDA that they're not allowed to say anything for 2 weeks, but then they have to speak to every press outlet however they want. Like, it's in the NDA that they have to do their own press release uncensored.
Right.
Because Wizards would fuck themselves that hard.
But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, because I'm sure something's going to come to light.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at everything that Lanzillo is saying, it's all the most positive spin corporate BS.
It always is.
Where they're trying to say, and you know, who's to say? This could all be 100% true, because we haven't heard Chris and Jeremy's take on it. But They're basically saying where Chris and Jeremy have been working on the game for more than 10 years, and they're just kind of burnt out on it, and now that they've finished the keystone of the new product, in other words, they agreed to stay on until the core books of this new edition were done, which is quote-unquote not a new edition, but anyway.
Right.
And now that they finished those core books, they were like, they didn't feel like they had it in them to start a whole nother project. And it's like, well, they kind of just did. So it doesn't really sound right to me.
Right, exactly.
Which I can see if you've just finished a huge creative project and you're like staring down the barrel of another one, especially if it's not something you're super excited about. I could understand not wanting to start another project. Like, I could understand if they came out and said that's where they're coming from. I could understand coming from that place. It just, something about it is fishy to me.
Same here. And I think to most people.
They've said that there's not going to be anyone specifically to replace either one of them, that it's kind of like a team effort to like take on their jobs moving forward, which in my head is just they don't want to hire and pay somebody else, so they'll just shift the work onto people that they're already paying.
Right.
And Godspeed to those workers, that's all I can say. But honestly, these two guys were the big voices in pushing back against corporate in anything that they were doing as far as using AI or doing things that were just against the spirit of the game. And anyone who would be pushing back against corporate, I think were using these two as their spearhead, as their leaders in this vision. And I feel like they left because they realized it was a losing battle, that they weren't going to win. And now anybody there who shared their sentiment, it really can feel that defeat at this point. Any hope I did have for Dungeons & Dragons, not saying I had a lot left, but if I did, any of it is still gone.
Yeah. If they were the only people that were holding that stuff back, I guess we know where they're going.
Yeah, I think we can safely guarantee that a bunch of these new books that are going to be coming out for this new edition are going to be AI-generated content, soulless cash grab content. And I would have bet anything that all the money would have been going toward Sigil and getting people to buy into that. But who knows what they're doing with that now. So I don't even know what direction it is they're trying to go at this point.
Yeah. At least when Perkins and Crawford were there, we could be like, well, we could kind of know where they're going. We're being surprised every once in a while, but at least we kind of know where they're going. Now, I don't know. I just feel like maybe they got rid of them so that they could keep the rest of the team in there to have as bootlickers or, yes men. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see the results of this here very quickly.
Sure. I know a lot of...
Maybe Sigil going off harder.
I know a lot of companies have exit clauses when you leave a particular company where like you're not allowed to go work for competitors for X amount of time or anything like that.
Which you guarantee they had to sign, I bet.
Yeah.
To get that severance or whatever.
Which, hey, in this day and age, in this economy, I don't blame anyone who would sign such an NDA or such an agreement in order to get that severance.
Yep. Survival is pretty much the only option a lot of us have. And if they had to do that to survive, then, more power to you. I'm not going to judge you.
But whenever that's up, I'm sure there's no way we won't hear from the creative minds of Jeremy Crawford and Chris Perkins. And I would not be shocked at all if it isn't a project that they work on together.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe we'll see them at a future Origins showing off their new stuff.
Yeah, because, it would be Origins that they would go to, wouldn't it?
Yep, I hope so.
At least it should be.
Yes. Moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about the only things that have been on any of my timelines or social media feeds as of recent. And let's talk a little bit more about the Switch 2. Not like we didn't cover it enough last episode. But there's been a lot of speculation about the Switch 2 and its prices, and with the new tariff announcements that prices are going to be going up and everything like that. And from what I'm seeing here, and I'm just kind of summarizing like 4 different articles from different sources, in that the tariffs that have come across, while they have delayed pre-orders and quite possibly the release of the Switch 2, it will not be affecting the price point of the Switch 2. It seems that when setting that price point, Nintendo kind of already anticipated some of these tariffs. They were much bigger than they had initially anticipated, and a lot of the things that Nintendo did to anticipate these tariffs, the tariffs kind of got worse and made it so all that preparation was for naught. But one thing Nintendo has always done is price for the consumer, not for themselves. They've always wanted to release something at a price point where the average consumer can afford it for what it is. It's one of the reasons Nintendo gets scalped so bad, because they release at these really low prices comparatively that people can afford, and then scalpers buy up the entire inventory, and then, people are forced to pay higher prices. Which, if anything, Nintendo, if they were like other companies, they would see that people would be willing to pay those higher prices and then would release at the higher prices, but that's not what they want to do. They kind of completely ignore the supply and demand chart and just release at a lower price anyway.
Yeah. I believe that I am unfortunately one of those people that this is way out of my price range. I'm glad that they decided that they're not going to raise the price. I know originally they delayed the release of the Switch 2 because of the tariffs, but I'm glad that the articles that we've been seeing, which are dated later than that article, are saying that they are going to go ahead and keep it at that set price. But it's still, for me, just exorbitant, and still just happy that Steam exists and I can get $50 games for $10 games every once in a while.
Yeah. It has been stated that Nintendo's response to what about people who can't afford a Switch 2 was like Nintendo's official response, from what I read in one article, was that they should just buy a Switch if they can't afford a Switch 2, which a lot of people have kind of taken as kind of like a cold-hearted response. But in another way, I mean, tech is tech, and video game consoles are going to cost what they cost, and if you can't afford it, there's nothing stopping you from playing some of the older stuff. I don't know. I see both sides of the argument in that one.
It is the argument is we exist in a capitalist society. If you can't afford it, you can't get it. This is the most cold-hearted explanation I have, but it's also the most true.
Yeah.
They are going to set their prices so that their CEOs and stockholders and their shareholders, are going to get the most money. They're going to get the most bang for their buck. They can say that they price for, the consumers all they want, but if that were true, they would price it for a lot less, but they don't, because their shareholders need money.
No, yeah, that's true. That's true, and definitely is.
Yeah.
They definitely don't price like they used to.
No, because we live in a capitalist society, and we will reap the benefits, and we will also be hurt by it. That's just how it is. And being part of that society, that capitalist society, I realize that $450 is way out of my price range, so I will not be getting a Switch 2, and Nintendo will not notice it.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And that's kind of what they know at this point, is that no matter what, they're probably going to sell out.
Sure.
Unless
that's what they're going to notice.
Unless they have a bomb like the Wii U on their hands, which I highly doubt. It doesn't look like it's going to bomb like the Wii U did.
No, I highly doubt it too.
They're gonna sell out, and whether it goes to one person to the next is kind of no skin off their backs. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. But
also, a lot of the people who are raising a stink about it, as far as like Nintendo not caring about the little guy. Well, they're a company, first of all. It's like, I'm not sure why you were expecting them to do that. And if we're all going to rally against a company that should care about the little guy, I feel like Nintendo should not be the first target.
Fair.
But, on the flip side of that coin, I can understand why there's a lot of, especially people who are geeks and gamers like us, who do feel betrayed by that, because Nintendo was one of the companies or corporations who wasn't necessarily as guilty as some of the other ones, and they feel betrayed by that kind of price hike.
Right. Now, I will also say this, and again, I'm not trying to be cold-hearted. However, if you feel betrayed by a corporation, you haven't been paying attention.
Very true.
I am experiencing my own betrayal as we speak. So it is leaking out a little bit.
Sure.
But it's also true. It's nothing I haven't said before.
But either way, I mean, a lot of people are talking about the tariffs and about how they thought it would kill the Switch 2. Let me tell you, the Switch 2 is going to be fine. Nintendo's going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to get delayed a little bit. However, that being said, there are a lot of companies that are going to feel these tariffs, and it is going to kill their business.
Yep, and before we get to that, because I know where we're going, I do want to point out, even if Nintendo would have raised it to $500 for a Switch 2, people still would have paid it.
Oh, 100%.
100%.
100%. And, I feel bad enough saying it. I'm one of those people. One way or another, I'm going to buy this system. I might...
Yes, if you are a fan of the system and the games that they put out, and you have the money to do it, you're going to do it.
It might be delayed. I might not be able to get one at launch. You know what I mean? I might have to save up my pennies until I can finally afford one. But, there's enough going on in this world for me to be upset about that I will happily take my little escapist machine and play my little heart out on my little fun racing games and 3D platformers that nobody else is, making games quite like they do.
And that's why I will probably just stick to my computer, pay $20, and go off into a fictional city and sell drugs.
Hell yeah.
And make drugs. In the game. I want to be very clear. In the game.
In the game.
In the game.
Or, times is hard if you got to go outside the game too.
Times are hard. I'm not judging.
Make that bag however it is that you gotta.
That's right.
But swinging it back to kind of where I was going. First of all, I'd like to say, I just opened the Polygon article that drew my attention to this even more than my TikTok feed has, because I've got a lot of small game developers that I follow on TikTok, so it's a lot of my feed that I'm seeing right now. But the first word I see, it draws my eye, is arbitrary, because a lot of people are calling these tariffs arbitrary in the way that they are calculated and how they've been decided in percentages and everything like that. And it's just true.
Yeah.
These numbers don't make any sense. You have people who know nothing about what a tariff actually is, just kind of throwing numbers at the wall and going, yep, that number sounds good, and making that the tariff percentages. And you've got our president doing press releases where he's like, oh yeah, these tariffs are really working. I've got these countries calling me, begging for a break. And it's like, of course they are, but that doesn't mean what you're doing is the correct course of action.
Right, exactly.
But they say the entire point of this is to bring jobs back to America and stop manufacturing in these other countries. But for a lot of these small businesses, the manufacturing simply doesn't exist in the United States.
Right.
And even if it did, even if tomorrow someone for some reason was able to miraculously open up the perfect manufacturing factory for their small business, there's no way they could fucking afford it as a small business.
And that's the way the system's been set up. It's horrible. Everybody wants to talk about, like you were saying, why don't you manufacture in the United States? And it's like, how out of touch are you?
Right. Yeah.
Of course we would love to fucking do that, but...
And especially don't ask this of your small businesses. You could ask that of the big companies. Ask that of the companies owned by Vanguard and BlackRock. Ask that of, Amazon, the people who tomorrow, if they wanted to, could build their own manufacturing facility right on U.S. soil. and then hire employees to staff it within like a week, and they wouldn't even feel it in their pockets. But it's not what they're going to do.
Yep.
Instead, they'll continue to manufacture cheaply in China and pass the extra costs on to the consumer. But that being said, where I was really trying to go with this is the past, decade or two, we have truly gone through a tabletop gaming renaissance. Tabletop gaming is no longer held by companies like Hasbro and Milton Bradley.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody could go and take their idea and turn it into a game and get people's eyeballs on it. And if it was good, it could take off and get in the hands of gamers everywhere.
And I hate to keep bringing it back to this, but I mean, things like Steam show that too.
Yeah.
Where, you have all these big game companies, but you got these small game companies on Steam. Sometimes even just one dude who's putting out a game and it's going well. And it makes it really affordable for, just anybody wanting to go on there and get it. With these independent TTRPG or just these independent tabletop in general, you may be paying the same prices, but for the most part, that's it. You're paying the same prices. You're not paying more, and there's so much better stuff.
Yeah, and the big difference here is Steam, it's a digital product. They can it takes work to put it together, don't get me wrong, and there are budgets and there's money that needs to be made up.
Yep.
But with the TTRPG, there's dice, there's cards, there's components, there's boxes, there's rule books, there's boards, there's all these different things that need to be created.
Yep. And
where are you going to get that done? Because the manufacturing industry for those sorts of things just doesn't exist in the United States.
Not at all. Nope. You could think of TTRPGs where, okay, maybe you'll find an American publisher who will put the stuff out there for you. But then you get into like the board games. I mean, you're fucking done. There's no way you're going to be able to find someone that's going to be able to do board games, do those plastic pieces, the dice, whatever. You're never going to be able to find somebody in the United States that will be able to cover that amount of production in the amount of time that you need. It's impossible.
And even if you could, if you're a small game developer and you're making your game and you get all those pieces manufactured in China, that way you can release your game's still going to cost $60 to $80, just because that's the kind of stuff that costs when you're doing it at that scale. It's not like Monopoly where they're doing it at such a large scale they can sell it to you for $25. Like the scale that they do it at costs $60, $80. Even if they found a manufacturer that could do it in the US, that same game would cost $120 to $160. And at that point, the kind of consumers that you're marketing to can't afford it, and you just can't compete with the bigger guys at that point.
Exactly.
So we're going to see one of two things. It's either going to be the renaissance we've had for these games is just going to die. Like everything that we've been doing, or I should say I don't want to take any of this credit. Everything that these small game developers have been doing to completely overhaul this hobby and put some of the best stuff out there. Everybody we got to talk to at Origins. And that's why I feel so deeply connected to this at this point, because like we sat down with these people, we looked them in the eye, we shake their hands, we saw the hope that they had for the future of this industry.
It's really like, obviously we supported indie games before, but sitting down with these people and actually having conversations with them and seeing how excited they were for this product they're putting out, yeah, it's a different beast.
So either it's just going to die, or somebody's going to have to come up with some sort of pivot. Somebody's going to have to be the first person to come up with, this is the hand we've been dealt, this is how we're going to play it, we're going to continue to grow, and we're going to continue to innovate, and this is how we're going to make it work.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if somebody does that, they've got my full support.
Yep.
But with 54% minimum tariffs on goods coming out of China, you have small game developers talking about how they've crowdfunded a project And now, all of a sudden, because of the tariff, the amount of money they needed to manufacture the game, they no longer have. And because they've promised to deliver on these games, they're still going to do it, and they're going to take a huge loss to do it. It just kind of eats me up inside.
Mm-hmm.
I think our community, the gaming community, is scrappy enough to survive past this. But the thing is, we were thriving. We had reached a point we were thriving, and I feel like we're being shoved back in a closet. And now we're just going to struggle and survive.
I would also like to say that just based off of what I just saw on CNN, tariffs on China are set to rise to at least 104% on Wednesday.
Jesus.
And that was written April 8th. So I'm not sure if those actually went through, but I would not be surprised.
Who knows?
But China retaliated as well with, 125% tariffs, but it's like, okay, that's expected. That's fine.
The U.S. doesn't have a whole lot of export to feel the burn of too many tariffs. Right. And even if they did, they would just, once again, like everybody else is doing, pass that burden on to the consumer.
Yep.
It's not like it's hurting any of the people they're actually trying to hurt.
Yep.
But anyway, if you do need some American-made products that you won't feel the cost of those tariffs for, you know where you could get them.
No.
tvillain.com.
Oh my gosh.
T-Villain is a t-shirt site where you'll find a killer limited edition shirt being sold for $13 only while supplies last. Every Monday, the site features a new design by a new artist. We would tell you what's featured right now, but by the time you hear this, it's already changed.
They choose the most ingenious designs that reflect everything evil and villainy, as well as works pertaining to anything artistic, pulp style, lowbrow, pop culture, TV, movies, music, video games, comics, etc. All things cool and evil, basically. To check them out and help out Casters Guild, click our link in the description, because it's made right here in Louisiana.
You're in Louisiana?
I'm not. I wish I was.
I do not. No offense, Louisiana. No offense.
It's a great place to visit.
Sure.
It's a great place to visit. But yeah, support that company. It's just a couple of people in New Orleans who make great shirts. Moving on, our favorite streaming service recently announced their first ever price increase.
Oh, that's it. I'm out.
You say that.
I say that, but I also have it on my browser right now.
But first of all, it's not increasing for any existing subscribers.
Right. But you know what? That's not even the point. But go ahead.
Yes. It's only going up by $1 a month.
That's the kicker. It's like, oh yeah, we're raising prices by $1. It's like, come on, man.
Or $10 for the year. And they're giving you the opportunity. It's not happening until May 7th.
Yeah.
If you sign up now, you lock in the lower rate.
By the time you hear this, you still have time.
Yeah, you still have time. And it was hilarious. I first saw this on a TikTok that got released, by Dropout. And if you look into the comment section of the TikTok, it's a bunch of comments that are like, how dare you? You should have raised it by another $3 at least.
If they raised it to, you know what? No, fuck it. If they raised it to $10, I would still pay it.
There's a whole bunch of people in the comments acting like they were outraged that Dropout would not take more of their money because it's what they deserve.
Crazy.
They were like, how dare you announce such a low price increase? The audacity.
I want to know how they're doing it.
Well, here's the thing.
I mean, how are they so fucking popular? It's stuff that I like. That's that stuff isn't popular.
It's almost like if you start a company and you put out a good product and then you don't have a CEO who's taking, 50 to 75% of that company's profit, and instead the CEO pays himself, a living wage, probably a little bit higher than a living wage, don't get me wrong, but sure, takes a reasonable salary and then takes the rest of that money and uses it to pay people living wages. and put it back into that company. It's crazy that they could use that money to thrive instead of just line their own pockets. It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
It's nuts. Good Lord.
Speaking of which, they nailed that fucking Game Changer season premiere.
They did.
This year.
They did. I wasn't expecting it. What a hell of a gimmick. I don't even know how much I want to say because I don't want to spoil it, but at the same time, we're Casters Guild.
Yeah, we're going to spoil it. And at this point, when this episode's going to release, if you're a Casters Guild fan, you probably already have a Dropout subscription, and you've most likely already watched it.
Right. And if you don't have one, you got until May 7th. Get in there.
Get in there and watch this show. It's fantastic. There's stuff that even Sam himself, who's supposed to be the head of the show, he didn't see it coming.
Right. I do think it's funny though that the whole I thought the magic trick was great. And also well delivered.
Yeah.
Jacob Wysocki, is that how you pronounce his last name? Wysocki?
Yes, I believe so.
He's really grown on me. For sure.
Yes.
And I think I think they're just kind of letting him thrive in this whole Dropout environment, and I'm really starting to enjoy.
It feels like early in his career at Dropout, he was testing the waters. Like he was kind of poking and seeing, what can I do? What can I get away with? How far can I take this? And now that he knows that there are no restraints, like the stuff that he does is just better for it.
That said, he should have won the standee challenge.
Agreed. Especially with what the prompt that was given. I mean, it doesn't get much more remote than that.
Right. Yeah, it was absolutely the furthest away from humans that he could get.
Yeah.
That was between any of them. Though Vic's contribution to that was pretty good.
Vic was trolling the entire time.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Vic's entire take was, how can I purposely misinterpret every prompt?
Shame on Sam's wife.
Yes, shame on Sam's wife. How do you have a camera that long in your house? It's just...
Look, I'm just gonna say it. If they went through all of that footage
from tip to tail,
there's no way they didn't see them fucking in that kitchen.
No way.
They had to 100%. And some of the shit that he had to have said. Come on.
I'm telling you right now, if somebody put a camera in my kitchen and it was able to stay there for months on end without my knowledge, they would definitely see every bit of me.
Oh, yeah.
They would be able to describe my dangle in vivid detail.
Vivid. Yeah. There's no way would I ever be comfortable with that. And he took it like a champ.
He did. But to be fair, he got to talk to a therapist about it in short order.
He did. Who I would love to talk to, by the way. I would love to have that person as my therapist.
Yes.
Anyways, I think that we beat around the bush enough on that.
Yeah.
I just realized the way we were talking about it was like light spoilery, but
there was enough tiptoeing that, like, if you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah,
Oh man.
Please get in there and watch it. Especially considering, first off, arguably Game Changer is the absolute best thing they put out there. And I say that being a huge fan of Dimension 20.
Sure.
But, new season of Game Changer is out. The Titan Takedown is out now. The first episode of Titan Takedown, which is the Greek mythology, WWE wrestlers, and Dungeons and Dragons, as ran by Brendan Lee Mulligan. Yeah, they targeted me.
My take on it is that Dimension 20 is a better show. It's better content, but Game Changer is much easier to digest.
Game Changer shouldn't... Ooh, how do I say this? Game Changer shouldn't be on this. Game Changer should be on, like, Netflix.
Sure.
You see what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it should be on, like, a mainstream thing. And I really think that if anything is going to make Dropout mainstream, it's Game Changer.
Yeah. It's a lot like Taskmaster in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just really great television. Like, I think...
And I don't want to take... Go ahead. Go
The
ahead,
only reason I would say it is better than Dimension 20 is, like I was saying, just its digestibility. Like, Dimension 20 is an investment. You have to sit down and invest time
Correct.
into Dimension 20, and you have to watch it in order. You could jump into any episode of Game Changer at any time, invest very little time into it, and have a great time.
Sure.
Dimension 20 is more of like, you have to invest time into it to get the payoff. And I think the payoff is better than for Game Changer, but I'm not sure everybody has the time or is willing to put in the time to get there.
Right. And I do want to say that me saying that about Game Changer is not supposed to be taking any heat away from Actually and stuff like that, because Actually is a great fucking game show too.
Every show on the platform, honestly, is great. Sure. I love Dirty Laundry. Very Important People is really good. I've been really enjoying a lot of the specials that they've been putting on there.
Oh yeah, that's kind of, I mean, relatively speaking, just kind of started.
Mm-hmm.
So that's fun. I like the show they do with Monet Exchange too.
Yes.
What's it called?
It's like Sleepover or something like that. Something.
Oh, is it? I think Slumber Party.
Slumber Party. That's it.
Monet's Slumber Party. I love that show. Also, Gastronauts.
Gastronauts is so good. Thousandaires. Like we could go on forever. All these shows are great. It's just like, Game Changer has set a bar that is difficult to live up to.
Sure, because I think that all the other stuff that we're talking about is kind of niche.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, Game Changer is like one of those. That's a mainstream idea for a game show.
Yes.
Anyways, we need to get Dropout all the way out of our throat and maybe move on to the next thing.
Well, if you'd like to be entertained by something else, just to laugh at someone instead of with them, Elon Musk recently did a gaming stream.
Yeah, he did.
Clips and VODs of which are available online.
Please watch it. Enjoy the comments. What a fucking loser, man. And he was like doing this in his like jet.
So the point of it, or at least according to him, the point of it was to show how good his like mobile internet connection was, so he could get other people to sign up for it. Because he was
using Starlink.
Yes, because he was using Starlink. And two, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna show people that I'm not just talking shit. I'm such a great gamer."
What a fucking loser. And I'm gonna be quite honest. I'm not familiar with the game that he was playing. Path of Exile 2.
Sure.
But when you have a fucking breakdown because you don't beat the tutorial boss and end the stream, come on.
And like he was going full tryhard mode too. Like if you've watched any amount of streamer at any point, any amount of time, I always give them so much leniency for how good I think they are at the game, because it is difficult to play a game and still be on, like quote unquote on, and engaging with chat and like being an enjoyable to watch personality. But the man went full silent tryhard mode and just focused 100% on the game, to the point where he didn't even see his supporters in the chat trying to tell him, hey, maybe you should calm this chat down a little bit.
You know what would have been funny is if he was trying to play that game, trying to pay attention to chat and flying the plane.
That would have ended hilariously.
That would have been hilarious.
But yeah, instead he just plays the game poorly the entire time, loses against the tutorial boss, has a full meltdown, and shuts down the stream. Which
let's be honest, if I was playing Path of Exile 2 on the difficulty setting that he was playing on and I wasn't streaming, I would probably die to the tutorial boss too. But you know what? I'm willing to admit that. Yeah. He's trying to convince people that he's a great gamer. Pro level gamer. What a fucking loser.
Let's go over some of these comments, shall we?
Sure.
So these people that he was ignoring the whole time, they had... This is on his own platform, by the way. Like, he didn't go on Twitch. He, like, went on X, formerly Twitter.
Fucking loser.
And people who had names like Elon is a pedophile or Elon is pathetic started to leave comments like, you have no friends and you will die alone.
Sure.
Started to leave comments like, you will always feel insecure and it will never go away.
I mean, but I feel like these are just fortune cookies at this point.
Someone commented your daughter was right.
She was. 100%.
Elon, how is it possible to look this dumb and ugly? Why is your Tesla company falling apart?
Oh my god. This guy was just going for the low-hanging fruits, and I fucking love it.
This man, okay. This man spent millions of dollars on plastic surgery. You can't tell me he didn't look at pictures of what he used to look like. This man spent millions of dollars on plastic surgery to look like a fucking 5.
Which is not a comment that was in...
No, that's just me. That's just me.
Right.
Like, look at him. He looks like the most average motherfucker in the world. He spent millions to look that unattractive.
Yeah. He put effort into looking mid.
Someone went in pretending to be Ashley St. Clair.
Okay.
For anyone who doesn't know, that's a conservative influencer who says she is the mother of Musk's latest child, and just spent the entire stream begging him to pay child support. Top tier trolling content.
God, fucking love it. Fucking.
How did he think this is a good idea?
I don't know, but I hope he does it again.
Oh man, how? Like, he knows. He got taken out of rallies and campaigns for state level candidates because he was tanking their campaigns. So he has to know how the public views him. You don't be that bad at a game and still think you're that good.
Someone has convinced him that the people who hate him are the loud minority.
Gotta be.
He's got to have some yes men in there that are egging him on.
Well, they need to stop lying to him about how good he is at games.
Yes.
Because how are you this out of fucking touch and to like think, oh, I'm a pro level gamer, let me die on the tutorial boss.
Of course, then again, if I had $1 for every fucking loser that's tried to tell me that they're a pro level gamer, I'd have a few dollars.
But like, they also don't have millions of people watching their stream proving them wrong.
True. It's true.
On a platform that they own.
Sometimes I just think he wants to do... I think he has a humiliation fetish.
Gotta be.
I think he was rock hard underneath that screen.
Gotta be a kink. And that's why he actually had to end the stream. Either he finished, or it got to the point where he couldn't stand it anymore and he had to go finish.
Well, I think, to be fair, it's... He needs some kind of medical help to do that, so I'm not sure if that's...
So that's what he had to do. He had to go log off so he could go get his medical help.
He had to see his doctor.
Yep. He was like, I'm too bricked at this point. I gotta go finish. Oh, god damn it. Oh, if we were flirting with the line of being political, at this point, it's over.
Fucking loser.
It's over. We have... And, like, don't get me wrong, I am not saying we shouldn't do this, and I'm not saying I regret it at all, but we have trashed tariffs and Elon Musk hardcore on this episode. If anyone didn't know where we stood at this point.
He was probably using Cheeto dust to jerk off underneath that camera.
I can't. Oh, my God, I can't.
I can't either. That's gross. I'm not doing it.
Oh, man, even if Cheetos made, like, a Cheeto-scented lube, I still wouldn't even entertain the idea.
Oh, gross.
Cheetos KY crossover. Oh, my God.
Fiery hot Cheeto.
The second ingredient listed is capsaicin.
Oh, my God.
It's at least water-based, so we know it's good. So it's like water and then capsaicin.
Ooh. Spicy water.
Okay. All right. Something else that happened recently was CinemaCon 2025. There were some decent announcements that came out of that with some dates. I'm just going to kind of rapid fire through these. Feel free to stop me at any time if you have anything to say about any of them. We got How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action is now set to release on June 13th of this year.
And the first one isn't even out yet.
Yeah, why does it say How to Train Your Dragon 2 live action? Why does this?
Because that's what they're doing.
No, it is How to Train Your Dragon. What the? This?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. They announced How to Train Your Dragon 2, while at the same time saying How to Train Your Dragon is being released this year, but they're announcing the second one already.
Ah, I see. Okay. All right. I was lost there for a minute. Yep. You're right.
Yep.
Let's see. We've got Sunrise on the Reaping. That's the next Hunger Games movie, and it's coming in 2026.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say it, but Philip Seymour Hoffman. Oh, I hate how they have this set up. But anyways, yeah. So one movie I don't really care about seeing, and followed by the another movie I don't really care to see. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people like Hunger Games, but I mean, I feel like they said all they needed to say.
Sure.
With the first one.
It's at this point, it's kind of feeling cash grabby, which is funny considering the message of the Hunger Games.
Yes.
We already knew this, but Zelda is coming March of 2027.
Sure, I'm actually kind of excited about that one.
I am reserving judgment until I see a casting.
I am mainly wanting this to succeed because I want to just keep seeing more stuff like this kind of popping out.
Agreed. Next, we have the Sam Mendes Beatles biopic, supposed to come out April 2026.
No. Where did you get that?
On Game Rant. Sam Mendes' Beatles biopic has a release date of April 2026.
But then in the article it says 4 individual movies will be released in April 2028.
Oh yeah, wow.
And then right after that,
it says 2026.
Boy, get your shit together.
Okay, for those who don't know, all of this is coming off of a Game Rant article, and it seems to not be all that well put together. I'm starting to think it may have been written with AI. So yeah, take any of this with a grain of salt. John Wick 5.
Now, literally, someone just got Keanu Reeves in interview, and they asked him about John Wick, and he said that he's dead.
Yeah?
He said that John Wick is dead.
I'm willing to bet that either this will be a prequel, so it's like John Wick back when he was Baba Yaga, or it will star a different assassin.
That man is at the wrong age to be doing shit like that.
Oh, they'll just use AI to de-age him.
The whole fucking movie?
Oh, yeah. They think they can get away with it now, I guarantee you. And reading further into the article, it looks like that's exactly what it's going to be, as a prequel. Next up, we got Predator Badlands, which is supposed to come out November of this year.
I have not been watching any of the Predator movies coming out, and I feel bad about it because I think that they've been putting out gold. I just need to catch up.
Well, Eli Fanning said that this movie is supposed to focus on a predator who has been banished from their clan and teams up with Eli Fanning's character on a distant world in search of their ultimate adversary.
Just for our listeners, it's Elle Fanning.
Oh, you're right. My bad.
No. When you're reading it, I get it, but yeah, it's Elle Fanning.
Yeah,
sister
Elle
of
Fanning.
Dakota Fanning.
Switching over to an article from NBC Universal, we've got Jurassic World Rebirth, supposed to be coming. Let's see.
I'm just done with Jurassic Park.
Fair enough. Let's see. Gabby's Dollhouse, supposed to be coming out September of this year. The Bad Guys 2 coming out August 1st.
2.
Yeah, it's that animated movie where it was based off a children's book where it was like a group of master thieves, Ocean's 11 style, and they go into a villain reform program.
I haven't seen it, but I am now familiar with what you're talking about.
Yeah, my kid really liked it, so we'll probably see that sequel. We got Him, which is supposed to be coming to theater September 19th. That's another Jordan Peele horror movie, so
nice, I'm in.
That should be good. That's all I need to know, really.
Yep.
Nobody 2. I don't know how I feel about this. I really liked Nobody. I don't know how they're going to make a sequel without it just being a cash grabby piece of shit. But we'll see. It's coming out August 15th.
So they're talking about the Karate Kid Legends.
Oh yeah,
but
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah. They're talking about a 4th Jumanji movie. A new look. A new. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Okay.
Five Nights at Freddy 2.
Oh, cool.
And Megan 2.0 right along that same
They were doing more information on the Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, which is exciting. I guess they had a little presentation for 28 years later, but they also mentioned a sequel for 28 years later. Okay.
Wicked for
Anaconda.
Good. Wicked for Good, which is like the second part of the Wicked movie that's coming out.
Okay.
Supposed to come out in November.
Yeah, I don't know.
It looks like a lot of good stuff will be coming out. A lot of garbage will be coming out too. I mean, like nothing really here breaking the mold. There's nothing surprising here to me.
No, not really.
I think the most surprising thing we talked about last week, which was that Zelda movie, the fact that they're going to be doing a live action movie for Zelda was the most surprising thing to me.
Agreed.
Before we finish up, let's talk about the most recent thing that you put up for us to talk about.
Yeah, it kind of popped up as we were talking, and it is, as you like to know, as you at home know, we like to post up bundles that will, support this or that. In this case, it is the TTRPGs for Trans Rights bundle. It's going to be on itch.io. We will post the link in Discord. But
I actually already put it in our geeky deals part.
Sweet.
I put it there April 1st, but it was not an April Fool's joke. It is real.
So I just want to point out that this is specifically in response to Ohio putting out 9 bills specifically targeting trans people. The proceeds to this go to Trans Ohio and Kaleidoscope Youth Center, amongst others. They provide housing, healthcare, legal advocacy, and other essential support to the LGBTQ plus community across Ohio. So, yes, it is a very specific area, but, trans rights are trans rights. So, it's just a $5 bundle. Feel free to donate more. It is a lot of games. This popped up while we were talking about the independent stuff, and it reminded me that you had posted it. But this is 500 games? Is that what it says?
467 items.
Nice.
I will say, like you said, it's only $5, but you can pay more if you want. And encourage, yes. Mm-hmm. There are some on here that individually are worth way more than the $5 just on their own. And there's 467 of them. Glitter Hearts is in here. That alone, worth the price of admission.
Hey, punch a fucking Nazi. That alone is worth price of admission.
Toxic Sword Lesbians.
I had my eye on that one. That's good.
Which I believe is a expansion or sequel to Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
Mm-hmm. A lot of single-player games.
Some other stuff like I don't know anything about, but I need to take a look at just because of the title. Super Kawaii ADHD. Definitely need to see what that's about.
Mm-hmm.
I could go on, but like there's just a ton of stuff on here. Definitely go look at it. If nothing else, throw the $5 on it. Put it on your itch.io account. We've been telling you all last season, all this season. There's so many good TTRPGs out there. Don't feel like you have to play Dungeons and Dragons all the time. Go look for something else. And this is a good place to look. This is a good place to look.
Because even if you can only afford the $5, you've still got the 450 plus just independent games that you can check out. Have a good time.
Yeah, the next time that you're having a game night and you're like, what are we going to play? You've got so many here that you can just kind of scroll through, find something that looks interesting, play it.
If you're by yourself, you can pop out Punch a Fucking Billionaire. That's a single player game.
Absolutely. Yeah, worth way more than the price of admission. That being said, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of Casters Guild. Email us at castersguild@gmail.com. Let us know what's coming out that you're excited about. What kind of movies are coming up that maybe you're looking forward to. Or tell me check out some of these games in this bundle. Let me know what your favorite was. I want to know.
And if you run one, we'll play it.
Absolutely. Come join us on the Discord. That's where all the fun stuff is happening, and that's where you could have found out about this bundle at the beginning of the month. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
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 Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.